All right, you guys, welcome back to the Outdoor RX YouTube channel. We unpacked a lot yesterday. We're going to do the same today with a different topic. And it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure it is to a lot of other bass fishermen out there. And it is co-angling. So as y'all know, Bassmaster took away the co-angler program, I think this year, if I'm not mistaken, which is a really sad thing. And I'll tell you why here in a second. So I understand both sides of it because I've been on both sides of it. I started off as a co-angler and then graduated to the front of the boat, if you will. And I understand people's frustrations. You know, if you have a co-angler that thinks he knows it all or this or that, whatever excuse you want to have, 99% of the time, you're going to have a good co-angler that you get along with. And not only do they help you with doing different method or fishing a different way, using different baits, whatever they're doing different can turn out to help you. So it's not all bad. And I want to start with the co-anglers. So it is the best segue in getting your feet wet into the bigger tournaments, the professional side, the regional side. It allows you to get your feet wet without investing all of your money into something that you're not sure, A, you're going to like, B, you can afford, and C, if you can even compete. So being able to have a program to get your feet wet in the bigger bass fishing tournament scene is getting taken away from those people. Not everyone can afford to go out and get a $100,000 boat, afford to be able to pay the entry fees, yada yada. The list can go on. And I know people that have been fishing as a co-angler for 20 years. That's what they do. They love doing it. And the pros that have been doing it just as long know these co-anglers. They have a relationship. They go out to eat together. They know each other's families. That's no longer a thing now. That's a big deal. The camaraderie along with that is I would say half of the bass fishing industry is the camaraderie that you get when you go on these tournaments, when you go out to eat with these people. You share fishing stories, you share tactics, you share everything. These people are some of your closest friends that you'll ever have, and that's also been taken away because there's no co-angler program. That being said, let's go into the forward-facing sonar scene. So say there is still a co-angler program with BASS. Well, if all your boater is doing is using forward-facing sonar and you're chasing fish out in the middle of the lake, your co-angler's not going to catch any fish. They're not going to even have a shot at fish if you're cherry-picking them off, which is discouraging to the co-angler. Why would anyone want to pay money, travel halfway across the country to fish in a Bassmaster Open when their boater is just going to go out and spotlight fish? That deters people from ever doing it again. It gives them a miserable experience and doesn't allow them to enjoy what I did as a co-angler. And that's wrong. And for them to not allow co-anglers is a disgrace to fishing. There's been co-anglers since the beginning of time. That being said, I want to go through some of the things that I learned that opened my eyes. You know, as a co-angler, I got to travel and fish with people that were better than me, that taught me things that I never would have known unless I was a co-angler. I got to fish, I'll just use an example. I'll use two examples for y'all. I got to fish with Tom Mansour up on the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And if y'all don't know who that is, he's a legend up there. And just being able to be in the boat with him was an honor. It was a great privilege to learn just a little bit in the time that I got to spend with him. He did bring us in 4 minutes late, but that's okay. Let's go with Casey Scalen on Grand Lake. He's a hammer there, and I got to see what it looks like when someone knows how to skip docks with a tube. I'd never seen anyone fish a dock with a tube, and he was a pro, so I just kicked back and watched him fish. It's amazing to watch, and those are skills that I now have. I'm obviously not as good as they are at them, but you get to learn, and your aptitude as far as a fisherman goes, it just broadens. So the co-angler side of things just gives you a lot bigger aptitude as far as your knowledge goes. You can only learn so much at a local level at your local lakes. So that's really sad that those people don't get to experience what I got to experience and a lot of other co-anglers got to experience. That being said, I want to go to the boater. So I was a boater, and I have some really important points for those of you that are boaters out there that treat your co-anglers bad, because it happens all the time. I've seen it. It's not cool. So as a boater, your immediate thought is, oh, I've got a co-angler today. What's that going to entail? It comes with a whole nother list of worries and anxiety sometimes. And 99% of the time, it turns out that y'all have a good time in the boat together. They teach you some stuff, you teach them some stuff, and the train keeps on going. There are some times I've only had, I think I've only had one co-angler that I did not get along with, and he actually put his fish in my live well as he was catching them, and I had my fish. I didn't have all of them on cold tags because I was on a offshore hydrilla patch and I was catching fish pretty quick, so I was just putting them in my live well. Once I got my limit, I was going to start going through them and seeing what I had. But when I actually got to do that, I had like 8 fish or something in my live well, and he was like, man, I could have put some in there. And I was like, did you or did you not? And he was like, I'm not sure if I did or not. So I ended up having to call Bass and tell them that I had too many fish in my live well, so I was penalized like 4 pounds. But that's the only bad experience I've had, and I've fished as a boater in probably 15 Bassmaster Opens. So in the scheme of things, it's not that bad. So there's that, and I wanna get it off my chest that as a boater and the co-angler program coincide, you never know who your co-angler is outside of that tournament. You don't know who's in the boat with you, and I'll give you a prime example of that. I was fishing Neely Henry Lake in a Bassmaster Open, and the first day of the tournament, I drew a gentleman, and I didn't know him from Adam. He's just another fisherman, and we got to talking, and he showed an interest in me. And at the end of the day, we shook hands. We had a good day, and he called me up a few months later and ended up sponsoring me and paying for my entire next season. So those of you that are boaters that treat your co-anglers bad, you shouldn't do that, because you don't know who's in your boat. An opportunity might be sitting right in the back of your boat, so you should take that into consideration. Okay, so we've gone over the co-angler and the boater, so we understand that those heads can clash sometimes, but more often than not, you have a good experience. One last thing I want to touch on is the youth of the sport and co-angling. So a lot of kids growing up, myself included, when I jumped into to be a co-angler in the Opens, the first thing I would do is look at the list of pros fishing the tournament, because there were a few, especially going to different bodies of water, that I wanted to get in the boat with. They were my childhood heroes, if you put it that way. Greg Hackney was fishing in one of the tournaments. It's like there's a possibility that I might get to fish with him. Imagine what I could learn if I was just sitting in the back of the boat watching him for 8 hours. So taking the co-angler program away is shattering people's dreams as far as getting to fish and learn from the people that they envy. So that's sad, and I hope Bass brings it back. And I'm not even going to touch on the money thing. Yes, it brings in more revenue having co-anglers, but the bigger picture is it's allowing people to get their feet wet in the fishing industry and meet people and grow their knowledge and establish relationships with people outside of their home lake regional area and abroad, which is a beautiful thing. Y'all let me know what you think about Bass banning the co-angler program. It's sad, and it was a good program, and I hope they bring it back. So I appreciate you guys watching. Y'all drop a comment down below if y'all have any good or bad co-angler experiences. I want to know everything you got for me. So thank y'all for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.